In this episode, you'll learn what's happening inside your body during perimenopause and menopause, and how small, consistent shifts can help you feel vibrant, confident, and in control again. Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast, a podcast helping women in career and life transitions achieve clarity on their next steps so they can transform uncertainty into an energizing next chapter. I'm your host, Tthe Ahuja, and the founder of It's My Time Now Coaching. If you're wondering what's next in your career or life, you are in the right place. Through solo and guest episodes, you'll gain practical tips, tools, and inspiration to help you uncover blocks, gain confidence, and be, do, and have what you want. I rediscovered myself after the age of 50, and I know you can too. It's my time now to help you do just that. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. Before we dive in, I want to wish everyone who celebrates a very happy Diwali, the Festival of Lights. Diwali reminds us that light always triumphs over darkness, that even in times of change or uncertainty, we have the power to renew, to illuminate, and to begin again. And in many cases, that's what today's episode is all about, bringing light to a transition that many women experience quietly, perimenopause and menopause. We'll talk about how to understand the physical changes happening within your body, how to manage them with compassion and knowledge, and how to reconnect with your confidence during this new season of life. Together with my guest, Dr. Tthe Awad, we'll explore why midlife weight gain isn't your fault and what's really happening hormonally beneath the surface. Simple, science-based shifts you can make today to feel stronger and more energized without dieting or restriction, and how extending kindness towards yourself can reignite your sense of purpose and possibility. So if you've been feeling a bit off, uncertain, or disconnected from yourself lately, this conversation will remind you that you are not alone and that midlife can truly be a time of vibrant reinvention. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Reinvention Podcast, your go-to podcast for everything career and life transitions, reinvention, and rediscovery for your next chapter in life. Today, I'm really thrilled to be joined by Dr. Tthe Awad, a board-certified family physician and the founder of Vibrant Menopause Weight Loss. Tthe helps professional women in midlife understand what's really happening in their bodies during perimenopause and menopause so they can feel better, regain energy, and lose weight for the last time without diets, restrictions, or relying on willpower. She's also the host of the Vibrant MD podcast, where she shares weekly insights about women's health, weight, and the physical shifts of midlife. So I know that her science-based, compassionate approach will give you both knowledge and hope for this season of your life. So I really welcome you to the show, Tthe. How are you doing?
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I love the combination of talking about the show, about what's going on in our physical bodies as well as our internal minds. So your work centers on helping professional women lose weight in midlife and without dieting or restrictions. So maybe to start, tell me a little bit about, or tell our listeners a little bit about, why did you decide to focus on a specific season of life? Maybe a bit about your story. And how does it really connect to your purpose or ikigai, your sense of purpose?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I was, as a family doctor and working in primary care, I always was that healthy food doctor. So if your cholesterol was high, I would say, well, tell me what you eat for lunch. I worked in wound care and we did a lot of nutrition with that as well. So this was always really important to me. And because of that, I was very surprised to all of a sudden at midlife to be gaining weight. I hadn't changed anything. I ate pretty healthy and my weight just started to go up and up and up. And so I tried the things that had worked before, like after babies, and they didn't work at all. And then I thought, well, I'll try some of these diets that people do, like keto. And I felt sick. Like a number of them, I really felt sick. And I thought, well, I can't do that. And then I decided to do one of those app-based programs on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I fought really hard. It was very restrictive and fought all the way down. And I got to my goal. And the online coach says, okay, add 250 calories now and see how it goes. And that was the maintenance plan. And I was furious because I thought I'm not going to restrict what I eat for the rest of my life. So that at that point, I bounced back even higher. And the number just kept going up. And so at 51, I thought, my body is broken. I'm stuck with this for the last part of my life. And at that same time, my periods quit. And I thought, oh, this has all been perimenopause and menopause. And I just hadn't put those together. So I thought there's got to be something very specific to this. So I dove into the research and found out kind of what happens with our estrogen dropping and our hormone digestive system. And I thought, well, if I put those together, that's great. That'll work. And then I also got some coaching, and it turned out I was eating a lot of my feelings. So kind of getting released from that as well, having that mindset shift really helped. And so then I decided to certify as a coach myself. And I just thought this is something I can bring to the world because there's a lot of diet culture. There's a lot of mystery about menopause weight loss and menopause weight gain. And as you know, there's a big transition in life and how we think about ourselves, about our relationships, about our jobs at midlife. And so putting all that together really makes that final weight loss journey kind of a beautiful spot at that time. So that's why I decided this could be the thing that I bring to the world at this time.
That's really interesting. So you as a family physician, you also became a coach to help women through the stage. I love that because it's kind of like you experience what your clients, I guess, are experiencing now. And oftentimes when we experience those things, it's like, well, we find a way through. So we want to help others find the same or help them through that. So that's wonderful. And you're right. I know I'm still feeling this way, is that a lot of women feel kind of blindsided like you did by that weight gain during perimenopause and menopause. And so just on that, I guess if we're talking about that, what actually, I know it's primarily the estrogen, lack of estrogen, but can you maybe explain what other things are happening in the body? And during this time?
Yeah, sure. The digestive hormone system is pretty complex, but we can actually simplify this down to talk about it. In perimenopause, our estrogen kind of jumps up and down, and then it just really goes low in menopause. And at that time, it affects all of our body systems. And in the digestive system, what it does is it gives us a sudden bump in insulin resistance. Now, insulin is something that is in our bloodstream and helps us process the glucose that comes from our food. But its job is to tell us to store energy. So you can store a little bit in your liver as glycogen, but mostly you store it almost in unlimited capacity as fat. And that's normal. But if you get this bump in insulin resistance, your body needs more insulin to process the same food. And so you have more insulin hanging around in your body. And the funny thing is that it does just fine with that fat storing message, even when it's resistant. So you have it hanging around telling your body to store fat all the time now. And we live in a society also that tells us to eat all the time. There's if you want to lose weight, eat small amounts all day long. And there's a real culture of when we go to events, having food at most events we go to. So we find ourselves eating all day long. And also there's more sugar around than there was in the past. And all that leads to the perfect storm for the woman at midlife and beyond to not being able to live in a normal weight body. So that real sudden change is why people are like, all of a sudden, I'm gaining weight. And it's around my belly, because that is insulin resistant weight gain, is that weight around the middle.
Okay, so I get that. So when we have the insulin, the sudden bump in the insulin, that causes the storage of fat, especially in the belly. So I guess the next question is then what's the best way to, you mentioned these diets. I've done a lot of them and it's just like nothing seems to work. So
Right.
I guess there's no bad magic bullet, but I guess for the sake of the audience, like we want to be knowledgeable about what's going on in our body.
Yeah.
So I've heard about eating right, and especially for women, like maybe doing resistance training and all that. Maybe there's some other tips or some other things that people can take out right away, like that you can
Sure.
implement today, that maybe a couple of things that would help with that sudden bump.
Yeah, I'm happy to share that.
Yeah.
Really, for weight loss at midlife and beyond, the only exercise that helps is strength training. There's some evidence that that high intensity cardio where you do something really intense and then relax, intense and relax, that might help as well. But the strength training, you're also at this age losing muscle mass, which if people are paying attention, they've heard this, right? But muscle mass actually is your metabolism. Metabolism is running the body. It is thinking during the day and detoxing the brain at night. And for your muscles, when you do strength training, you get some breakdown of the muscle. And so the body needs to rebuild and it builds it stronger. And just the process of maintaining what is there at the moment also is your metabolism. So strength training does help. I throw out this number, but this number is not science. I feel like 80% of it, though, at least, is the food. And so what we need to do with this is to eat in a way that lets our insulin be lower and lets us have some quiet time where nothing is going on. I like to talk to people that if you're eating lunch and then you have this nice normal glucose curve, and then the insulin comes in and uses what you need for the moment and stores the rest. And what you really want is to not eat until the next meal. When that happens, your insulin drops really low, and then your body does what it's made to do under what are more ideal circumstances. It'll pull that little energy from the liver that I talked about, and then it will pull fat for energy until dinner time. So if you, for 4 or 5 hours there, are working, leading your team, seeing patients, whatever, your body just uses fat for energy. And that is what it's made to do. So we want to have that quiet time. The funny thing is that we, at some point, we got into the idea of snacking. It was sold to us by snack food companies.
Yeah.
And then the healthy dietitian group said, well, let's just have healthy snacks so we aren't not letting people have food. But we really need to not have snacks more often. Because if you think talked about this afternoon where your body is just pulling fat for energy, if you walk into your kitchen and throw 3 cherry tomatoes in your mouth, perfectly healthy, right? But you've just woken up the whole digestive system again. You have a glucose curve from that food, and then the insulin all comes in, and then you are storing fat again and not releasing fat. So really having some quiet time where you're not eating.
Absolutely nothing.
Very well. Yeah.
Absolutely
So
nothing.
that's why intermittent fasting can be a tool. But for, I'd say 2/3 of my clients, they just start eating 3 meals and moving away from snacking at all. And the weight just really comes off.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, because I've heard that too. It's like, okay, you have 2 snacks or healthy snacks, you have nuts, you have, all these, it's like, this doesn't, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
It's
we can
not
talk
great
about that.
for the midlife woman and beyond.
Okay. That's really great tip. Thank you so much. If we kind of go maybe to a little bit of a different topic in midlife, especially a lot of the women that come to me, for example, are really looking at their new identity. And often there's expectations, societal expectations, especially in their body changes, what's going on. And then that shifts into it, like they don't become confident. They lose their confidence in themselves. So maybe they're going through career changes as well. And then they have these body changes, family, kids going away, all these things happening. And that really shifts their confidence. So kind of what would you say? How do we kind of begin to shift that narrative away from the societal expectations of that we have to have this perfect body or what we were like when we were younger?
Right.
Yeah, that's a big question, but it's something that we should just be confident in how we are at the moment, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I take menopause hormone therapy because I had symptoms of menopause that were well treated with that. But I joke with my gynecologist when I go see her, I'm taking that therapy, but I still am getting older every year. And and she says, yes, that will keep happening, and, for a while probably if things go well. So we're fortunate to still be walking the earth. And it's a good time to appreciate ourselves. We've done a lot, right? If we raise children, we become very experienced at caretaking. If we've led teams, we're great leaders now in our businesses or in our workforce. We're a highly experienced group at this point, even if we're making a career change. So it's really a very valuable time in our lives. For many of us, we still are able to go to work and do the things we want to do physically. And that's makes us a great asset wherever we go in the world.
Yeah.
So I think kind of remembering that is very helpful.
Just appreciating what we have and how much contribution we've already made and are still making, right?
And there are times when you'll notice that someone isn't appreciating you. And I think, gosh, they have no idea. I'm 57. Do you know all the things that I know how to do?
I know a lot. I've been through a lot. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just, I think it's those, I think those are changing, but I think in the media, whatever, like often midlife women are portrayed with, I don't know, getting way too old or not being able to do things. And it's like, I think what they were saying about 60 being the new 40 or something like that, I think it's true. I think as long as it's that, is that how you feel internally, right? And not be swayed by the media and by pressures, outside pressures. So
some people, I'm sure you've talked to people like this who start to give up, like, oh, well, this is me getting older. Now I'm old and they've lost track of all they have to offer, and they've lost track of the opportunities they might have to create something new or contribute something interesting or take on a cause that is important to them.
Well, we are certainly living longer, and so we have more time ahead of us than we imagined. So like we have half of our life ahead of us. So why not make the most of it, both from a health perspective and from purpose perspective? So that's why I'm doing this. So I totally believe in that. So Heather, you've said that we talked about that a little bit, but you said that eat less, that move more doesn't often work, and it's a traditional, you have to eat less and just move your body and everything will be fine. But that doesn't actually work. So you kind of alluded to that earlier, but is there anything else you wanted to maybe add on that?
Right. I mean, calories are definitely not math in the menopausal woman's body. And honestly, eat less, move more doesn't work that great for anyone. The thing is that your metabolism will adjust up and down. Like if you eat normally Monday through Wednesday and you go to Thanksgiving dinner and you just eat and stuff yourself till you feel sick, and then you eat normally Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, on Monday, your weight will be the same. There's no math to it. Your body adjusts. It says, oh, you gave us so much food. We're going to burn that up and we'll stop. And same thing with the exercise. I meet women who just do all this cardio and I'm burning all these calories. And when we look at it, the calories that people burn are not the numbers at a level that they think they are, but also at the menopause transition, it just spikes your cortisol up, and your body gets this message that there's an emergency. Hang on to everything. And it won't actually release fat in the normal way because your body has that high cortisol, which is the emergency hormone, and then you don't let it go. So there's a lot at play there. So eat less, move more. People are like, it's just a math problem. It's not math. It just isn't.
I love that. Calories are not math in a menopausal body. I like that. I never really thought of it that way. So are you saying then like eat more or eat better, I guess? Eat better, like rather than eat less.
There's a little bit of both.
Good stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I do meet women who eat very small amounts and I do have to work with them to eat more so that they can live in a normal body weight, because they're oftentimes overweight, but their body is just not releasing because they're eating so little.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, people have heard about the big protein.
I was just going to say, is that eat more protein?
Greatest for menopause.
Yeah.
I think it's a little overblown, honestly, but we should have protein at all of our meals. And I would recommend also vegetables or berries at all of our meals. And a little fat. Healthy fats are best, but really a little bit of fat in general. So I do meet women who will say, well, what's wrong? I have this nice green salad at lunch, but there's no protein on it. You really want to have some protein at every meal. And it can be anything you like. If you're vegetarian, tofu, tempeh, beans, great. If you eat meat, have the vegetarian proteins, but also fish, chicken, red meat in moderation, but do have protein at every meal. And then I think people aren't used to the idea of having vegetables or berries at breakfast, but it really serves us well. And also at every lunch, every dinner, sometimes you walk in somewhere and you're like, there's no vegetable here. And you need to go find a vegetable or a fruit because you will feel so much better. It helps you live in a normal weight body. And people are kind of amazed at what a difference it makes in how they feel. They sleep better. Their energy for work is just high and steady through the afternoon. So there's making sure that you have those things at your meals really helps.
Absolutely. So you're saying berries with every meal? Or is it just...
Well, berries are recommended daily. Berries are one of those foods that really help us with longevity. They fight against dementia disorders like Alzheimer's. They are cancer fighters. They prevent heart disease. When you look at things that you're like at this age, we start to look at what our parents and our aunts and uncles, what diseases they have. A lot of those are reduced and your risk is reduced if you eat vegetables and berries, more vegetables and more berries. So I do recommend berries every day. And I go to this healthy food conference for doctors and people will give a speech and they'll talk about what they eat every day. And they all eat berries every day.
Yeah. I eat berries every morning, but I hadn't thought about adding it in lunch and dinner. So that was a new one for me.
Yeah. Just having it once a day is perfect.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought, right.
Doesn't have to be at every meal, but sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to have a vegetable. I'm like, well, did you have your berries yet today?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you go to restaurants and they just have a piece of meat and potatoes. Like, okay, let me have some vegetables with that.
Right. It's so surprising.
Yes. So Heather, we talk about reinvention here and especially at this stage of our lives, and it isn't only about health, right? But health really often fuels our confidence. And in order for us to pursue new paths, we have to have that confidence. So how can you, from your experience and with your clients, how can women feel more empowered in their bodies so they can step into this next chapter with more confidence and both in their careers and life? Because it is a difficult stage for many when we see the weight gain and we feel less energetic. So is there, other than some of the external tips that you've given us, are there some ways that we can gain that feeling empowerment?
Sure. I think one of the things that's really important when you're considering weight loss or transition time is to check in on how kind you are to yourself. When you see yourself in the mirror, do you say nice things to yourself or do you say mean things to yourself? And if you're not saying kind things to yourself, can that be a thing that you work on for a month? Just saying something cute or funny or sweet to yourself when you see yourself in the mirror helps you moving forward. Also, just taking some agency, I think, at this point in life about what you eat, because we are a little bit socialized to people please. And so a lot of times we go places and this will make it sound more dramatic, but I think it's very true. We go to someone's house and basically walk in and say, I will eat whatever you want me to eat. I will drink whatever you want me to drink and the amount that you pick. And that's what's going on in our brain, even though we don't say that out loud. But really, it's a good time to say, how much alcohol do I want? If they are going to serve me, if they want to put more food on my plate and I'm really very satisfied, am I going to take that and eat that? Is it time for me to just say, no, thank you, I'm good. I really enjoyed what you served and I've had enough. That kind of idea of that we can go throughout the world, be a polite guest, be a great teammate at work, but we don't have to eat what everybody else thinks we should. We can decide for ourselves.
That's a really good point. It's kind of like setting our own boundaries, even in a social environment, is that, hey, I'll have a glass, I'll have one, maybe maximum 2 glasses of wine and not 5 or so it's kind of moderation and setting those boundaries. And that's really important. And what you said also about how we speak to ourselves, because we can be pretty mean to ourselves if we listen to what we're saying. We would never say that out loud to somebody else. And I say that a lot to my clients, is that it's whenever the thoughts we have would lead to our emotions. If we're saying, oh, I look terrible, then you're going to feel terrible. Right?
Right.
So, yeah, no, that's a really good point. So maybe this was, you don't have to talk about this or anything, but it just popped in my head. A lot of the talk about GLP-1s.
Sure.
And just maybe a quick thought about, is it something that you would recommend or for people who are looking to, just a thought that popped in my mind. Yeah.
They can be a great tool. I am not against GLP-1s. I would let people know that if your weight was fine and then it just changed at perimenopause or menopause, you probably don't need it. Okay. You may get offered it. You can still ask for it. If you would like to use that, you can still use that. But you probably don't need it. You probably just need to learn more about how your body works at menopause. I also feel like for people who've had longstanding obesity, that it can be a miracle drug. For people who are having diabetic changes, obviously that's where those medications came from, and they are wonderful. So I'm not against them. My main concern with these actually are that they're very expensive. And so many people use them for a while and then stop. And I'm worried that it will become a very expensive yo-yo diet for people.
Because the weight can come back.
Yeah. And and people get kind of this nausea and upset stomach, so they don't feel like eating. It also helps with the hunger chatter in their brain so that they don't want to eat so much or eat so much junk. And then that all comes back immediately when you're done. But you need to learn how to eat healthy and in a way that works for your body. Yeah, when you're done as well. So
no, those are good points. Yeah, just because I know there's a lot of talk about it, and it's been in the media a lot, and so I thought I'd get your perspective on that. So thank you for that. So this is wonderful. So women who are listening, they may be feeling stuck, right? Whether that's in their health. We talked about this, their health, their careers, or even like they're changing identity. Like, okay, what's next? I've been doing this job for a long time. Now I'm really not as fulfilled, or all those things, that the transitions that we go through. So, what, based on you're probably working with a lot of women in midlife, would you maybe some words about as first steps you'd recommend to help these women move towards this kind of lasting change, like a positive change?
Sure. Do you mean like in general, or with their health, or what?
Yeah, just because when they're going through career or life transitions or health transitions, there's this confidence piece and that's missing, or how it would, like, when they don't know how to take their first steps, like what it would be like maybe a good way to start in the right direction. Yeah.
I would say the first step is to find a step that you think is going to work and do the small thing, because confidence, I think, actually comes from that feeling of competence. Like the very first time that you recorded a podcast, you may have felt scared, but you're like, no, I've got all the tech figured out and I can just do this. And then when you had one done, that's what gives you confidence, right? Confidence is not a fake thing that we blow up ahead of time. Do one thing and try that. Maybe if you're looking at for your health, you're thinking, don't move at all day. Maybe I want to start walking my dog after work. Just do it one day and then say, wow, look at me. I walk my dog. I'm a dog walker. Or if you're looking at your meals and say, there's this one meal that I really could clean up because I don't feel well after I eat it. And then just think, tomorrow, maybe it's breakfast. I just am going to have a healthy breakfast tomorrow. And then do that. And then you get confidence from these little steps, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It is those tiny steps. Even if you do one and then you realize that you can do it, they look back and go, okay, that wasn't so hard. So maybe I can take 2 in that same direction. And then the action is what creates the confidence. I totally agree with that. And yes, I was terrible in my first, when I first started the podcast, it was like, but here I am over 200 episodes later. It's like, I'm still, so but you just get the momentum builds, the energy, the positive energy gets created.
Yeah.
And when you're doing things that are aligned with what you are really all about, your purpose, that's when it all comes together. So yeah, no, that's great advice. So that's wonderful. I think we've kind of talked a little bit about the health piece. We've talked about food, the training, all of that, and also like underlying what we talk about to ourselves. So there's all really all encompassing, and it's a very complicated time for a lot of women. And so I thank you for your expertise on all of that. Would you like to maybe add something there to the listeners that just kind of a takeaway from based on our conversation?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot to be inspired about at this age. And if someone's not feeling that way, to just notice that there's a lot going on with their peers, and that possibly this could be a very inspiring age for them as well. New opportunities. Some of the changes in relationships and work can bring new opportunities and more aspects of a beautiful life. So
yeah, I would say it's not a crisis, it's an opportunity, right? It's not a so I think it really is. Yeah.
And it's hard because some of it is like we don't pick the timing.
No, right.
for this change. And it's a big body change like puberty. And so there's a lot going on in your body and your brain. So there's some of it you're a little bit stuck with, but yet when you look around, there may be some great things going on with this change. So
and be kind to yourself, right?
Be kind to yourself for sure. That's most important.
Right.
And if you haven't done it yet, start now.
Exactly. That's wonderful. So Heather, this has been wonderful. Could you let our audience know what's next for you, how we can find you, and a little bit about your program or anything else you'd like to share?
Sure. Yeah. I do run small group programs for weight loss for professional women who are ready to lose weight for the last time. I am taking a few one-on-one clients this fall. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. It's probably a good place, but I'm on all the socials as well. I'd like to, if it's okay, I'd like to offer a gift to your audience as well.
Great.
The number one question I get when people talk to me about weight loss is, what should I eat for breakfast? And so I made a sheet about it with giving you formulas for the best breakfast for menopause weight loss. And you can find that at my website. So vibrant-md.com/breakfast.
Okay.
And I'll spill all the secrets.
Perfect. So we'll have the link in the show notes, so we can have people direct them to the website, and that's a really great resource because sometimes you're just like, I'm so tired of eating eggs, or I'm just the same thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, although we talked about eggs, they're good for source of protein, but no, that's wonderful. I think having the variety also is really important, and following what you said. If you're eating the 3 healthy meals and not snacking between that, having a healthy breakfast is probably really important as well. So, so we'll have that in the show notes. And so anybody who's interested in losing weight finally, then reach out to Dr. Awad and check out her program. So I really appreciate your insights and your expertise today. It was very informative, and wishing you all the best for the program and for everything that you do.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. All the best.
As we wrap up, I hope you're walking away with a sense of relief and maybe even excitement about this powerful stage of your life. Dr. Awad reminded us that menopause isn't a crisis. It's an opportunity to rediscover how strong, wise, and capable you truly are. When we treat our bodies with kindness, nourish ourselves well, and take small steps towards what feels aligned, we begin to glow from the inside out, just like the light of Diwali. If you're ready to uncover how fulfilled you truly are, and what might be holding you back from feeling vibrant in both your career and life, take my free Career and Life Fulfillment Quiz. You will receive a score of your level of fulfillment right now, followed by key insights into exactly what you can do about it. The link is in the show notes, or you can visit itsmytimenowcoaching.com. And if this conversation resonated with you, I'd love to help you take your next steps through a complimentary breakthrough call. Here we'll explore what's possible for your next chapter and what might be holding you back. You can book your call through the link in the show notes. Until next time, my friend, take care of yourself, honor your transitions, and remember, your light was never meant to dim. It's your time now.